What's good, y'all? I'm Jerry. About to check out this video, man. This is 10 wrestling records that will never be broken. This video is by Cultaholic Wrestling. And one record that stands out to me is Bruno Sammartino's championship record that he held for over, I think, 10 years. However many days there was. I don't think nobody would ever touch that record in wrestling history and have it be so entertaining that it will never be boring. Roman's trying to get to it. I don't know if they're going to have Roman be champion for another year or two, however long he's been champion. He's been champion for 2 years, over 2 years now, but I don't know how long they'll continue to have Roman be champion. And other records such as, I want to say, the Royal Rumble record of the shortest elimination time that's held by Santino Marella, unless they have a character similar to Santino Marella. And I doubt it, because Triple H is running things now and he's all about wrestling, professional wrestling, rather than sports entertainment. So let's hop into this video, see other things, other records that will never be broken.
Records are made to be broken.
It is.
But at the risk of opening myself up to the
another thing, Undertaker's WrestleMania streak will never be duplicated, never, ever.
Incredible accomplishments that the holders are quite right to shout about, whereas others are not only records that nobody should want to be associated with, but are reasons that careers suffered and companies closed. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are 10 pro wrestling records that will never be broken. Join us.
Who we got?
But before we start, today's list is sponsored by NordVPN. We at Cultaholic truly believe that Nord is the best service of its kind. Firstly, it's super easy to use. Connect with one click. WrestleMania World Title Match. When a World Title Match is booked for WrestleMania, the expectation from fans is that,
it gotta be a long match.
Stage, some would say the grandest
gotta
stage
be the best match of the night.
Place on, that the company and performers involved will go above and beyond to produce something extra special.
Yes, sir.
That hasn't always been the case, obviously, and some World Title matches at Mania can underwhelm, if not downright infuriate audiences. One such match was Daniel Bryan
versus Sheamus, 2012.
At WrestleMania 28, which blindsided everyone and left a sour taste in the mouth for a long time to come. Despite the infamy that match subsequently enjoyed, it is not the shortest world title match in WrestleMania history. That honor goes to Kane and Chavo Guerrero, who were out there for a whopping 8 seconds for their ECW title match at WrestleMania 24. Chavito dropped the strap to the Big Red Machine following a single chokeslam. It was the first and only time the ECW title was defended at the Showcase of the Immortals. Number 9, the highest rating for an American televised wrestling show. Some wrestling fans seem to enjoy discussing a particular show's ratings more than what they did or didn't enjoy about the actual show itself. While ratings are, in some ways, an important barometer to judge the popularity of a performer, storyline, or in fact the overall business, their importance can sometimes be overstated, particularly in today's varied multimedia world. Back on February 5th, 1988, however, they were very much an important thing, especially when it came to WWE and its relationship with network NBC,
Saturday Night Live,
an hour-long special for Vince McMahon's company in a then-coveted Friday night slot right in the middle of the vaunted sweeps period. Both parties had cause to celebrate when the numbers came in for the main event, which saw Hulk Hogan defending the WWE title against Andre the Giant, and the ensuing controversy with the $1 Million Man and twin referees. It drew a 15.2 rating, the percentage of American homes with a TV tuned into that show, or roughly 33 million viewers. 33 million. Kind of puts all that back and forth about the so-called Wednesday night wars into perspective, doesn't it? Number 8, the most world
back then they didn't have that many television networks at the time, so that's another reason.
From a kayfabe perspective at least, its most valuable asset, or at least it should be. The world title, in the right hands and protected well, can become the centerpiece of a company. Something that can be used to spark up the best feuds, lead to the biggest matches, and crucially, draw big money. In the dumpster fire that was WCW in the year 2000, the once prestigious WCW World Heavyweight title became a joke prop that changed hands an astonishing 25 times. That is an average of over 2 title changes per month, but really that doesn't begin to tell the whole story. Only Sid's reign with the gold was respectable, lasting 76 days. Sid also had a reign that lasted 1 day though, as did Chris Benoit, Diamond Dallas Page and Jeff Jarrett, while Kevin Nash and Ric Flair both had reigns that lasted less than a couple of hours.
Damn.
Worse still were Booker Vince Russo and actor David Arquette's short but damaging reigns, and the number of times the title was simply vacated. 5, if you were wondering. Number 7, The Rock's 100. Dwayne The Rock Johnson
100?
has been at least partly responsible for setting a bunch of records both in wrestling and Hollywood. A super heavyweight at the box office, the Great One is essentially an industry unto himself as the movie world's most bankable leading man. That financial muscle flexed its way back into WWE when he returned to work with John Cena at WrestleMania 28, his billing opposite Big Match John being largely credited for the show drawing a record
then they planned that match a year in advance.
1,000 pay-per-view buys. Maybe that's hardly a surprise though, considering the
they made the match in 2011. Their WrestleMania match didn't happen until 2012.
According to Dave Meltzer, Dwayne is the first and so far only person to headline 100 shows that topped 10,000 paid fans in a single year. This would have been in 2000, when The Rock was WWE's premier babyface in the absence of the injured Steve Austin, who had done pretty damn decent business himself in the 2 years before going under the knife. So popular was WWE at this point, and so on fire was the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, that the sellouts came naturally, whether it was a pay-per-view, TV taping, or non-televised house show.
The Rock is doing numbers like that.
Time in the Royal Rumble.
Santino
The Royal
Marella
Rumble is a great opportunity for superstars to either put in a proper shift or otherwise make moments to stand out. The Rumble brings up a myriad of possibilities when it comes to creative ways to start or continue feuds, as well as ways to highlight particular performers with elimination, saves, and so on. Ordinarily, a wrestler being chucked out quickly would be something for that individual to lament, but a quick elimination can actually be a way to be remembered. Take, for example, Bushwhacker Luke being thrown over the top while doing the Bushwhacker walk, and then continuing to do it on his way to the back. Or how about Jerry Lawler taking a big backwards bump from a Bret Hart right hand? Both of those eliminations occurred within about 4 seconds of entry, but the record for the quickest elimination is actually even shorter than that. For the longest time, the record was held by the Warlord, who was clotheslined out by Hulk Hogan in just 2 seconds.
I think Santino broke it in 2009 or 10,
record that stood
maybe
for
11.
20 years until it was halved by Santino Marella, who was eliminated in a single second by Kane. In his defense, he wasn't ready. Number 5, 83 weeks. Love him or hate him, you really have to give credit to Eric Bischoff for turning the ship around at WCW and not only helping them survive, but thrive, and ultimately end up beating WWE at their own game for 83 consecutive weeks. Yes, WCW Nitro under Eazy-E's watch
That's some good booking, some good writing, great storytelling, and great wrestling.
To April 13th, 1998. Some weeks Nitro blew Raw out of the water, while other weeks the margins were rather close, but the fact is that for 83 weeks in a row, WCW got a big W over their competitor. In today's wrestling landscape, it seems unthinkable that another promotion, even one with momentum such as AEW, could go head-to-head with one of WWE's major shows like Raw or SmackDown and come out on top for such a sustained period of time. The Monday Night Wars were a special era in the business, one where records were routinely set and then promptly broken as business was booming, but a lot has changed since then, and it's not plausible that, regardless of how WWE's popularity may dip, that a rival would be able to best them so consistently. Number 4, most WWE matches by a single performer. There have been many Iron Men in WWE history, those performers who have competed across multiple decades, digging in and grafting hard as soldiers for the company during good years and bad. Some wrestle hundreds upon hundreds of matches, while others wrestle thousands in McMahon-owned rings. One man, however, is in a class of his own. WWE Hall of Famer Kane is the superstar who has wrestled more WWE matches than any other.
For real?
According to records, the Big Red Machine has competed in 2,811 WWE matches to date. His next closest competitor, Randy Orton, is still about 400 odd matches shy of Kane's tally, and given that the Viper is approaching his mid-40s, there's not much chance of him catching up. Though, never say never. As for anyone else currently on the roster hitting Kane numbers, you wouldn't count on it, given how many fewer shows WWE runs these days as compared to the Mayor of Knox County's heyday. Of course, the 2,811 matches attributed to Kane should actually be credited to not only that gimmick, but also to Fake Diesel and Isaac Yankem DDS. Look, we've got to give him credit for something, alright? Number 3, the highest attendance for a professional wrestling show. Alright, now, this one is a little tricky because every wrestling promotion in the world has, does, and will continue to inflate the attendances of their shows, especially major shows that draw impressive enough crowds anyway. Debates will rage on as to whether WrestleMania 3 really did have 93,173 in the Pontiac Silverdome, or if Mania 32 really did attract 101,763 fans to Texas's AT&T Stadium. Those are big numbers, whether they're slightly inflated or not, but they do not compare with the crowds that WCW and New Japan wrestlers performed in front of at the two-night co-produced Collision in Korea shows in 1995.
That guy just passed away.
As to what the real numbers were, but for night 1 in Pyongyang, there were supposedly around 150,000 there, while for night 2, that number grew to somewhere close to 170,000, with some claiming as many as 190,000. These weren't paying fans, mind you, as they were obligated to be there by the North Korean state as part of the International Sports and Culture Festival for Peace. A selection of matches from the 2 days were later broadcast by WCW on pay-per-view, which, ironically, drew a record low 30,000 buys. Number 2, the longest uninterrupted WWE title reign. WWE deserve a lot of credit for booking Universal Champion Roman Reigns so strongly and having him hold on to the belt for as long as he has. Lengthy world title reigns aren't exactly a staple of modern-day WWE, with the Tribal Chief's run harkening back to the days when a top star would wear the strap for sometimes years at a time. Though Roman's 600-plus day reign at the time of recording is certainly impressive, he still has a long way to go until he can match or better some historic WWE World title reigns of the past. He's still less than halfway to Bob Backlund and Hulk Hogan's first reigns, 1,470 and 1,477 days respectively, but those epic reigns are themselves just about
nobody touching Bruno
Sammartino's legendary initial WWE title run. The living legend held on to the main prize for an incredible 2,803 days between May 17th, 1963 and January 18th, 1971, until he was downed by Ivan Koloff, who was used as an interim champion in order to pass it along to Pedro Morales. Someone could conceivably hold on to one of WWE's titles for the best part of a decade, but it's hard to see happening, isn't it? Number 1, The Streak. As of now, the longest undefeated streak in WrestleMania history currently belongs to Rob Van Dam, who has a 4-0 record when it comes to the Showcase of the Immortals. That is a solid 17 wins behind The Undertaker's famed WrestleMania winning streak, which stretched from 1991's WrestleMania 7 to 2014's WrestleMania 30, when it was broken by Brock Lesnar. What originally started by chance eventually grew into one of the biggest drawing cards for the company's flagship event, as the Deadman competed in a range of matches where the streak was always on the line. If anyone is going to even come close to The Undertaker's winning record at the granddaddy of them all, WWE are going to have to start planning it right now and see that it plays out over the best part of 2 decades. The odds of that happening are practically non-existent, and frankly there's as much chance of RVD notching another 17 victories before all is said and done.
They don't even want RVD wrestling for them.
Once-in-a-lifetime performer, and the
all the concussion stuff he had over the years.
Someone as loyal and
he got to be medically cleared to even compete.
The streak may have been broken, but nobody will ever match the initial record.
No, sir.
Records are...
Alright, y'all, great video, man. Let me know down in the comments of what y'all thought of my reaction to this video and some of the records that were in this video that was mentioned inside this video, man. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Peace.